Welcome students, I am Pooja Sakalkar, Assistant Professor at Carmel College of Arts, Science and Commerce for Women. Today we are going to look at module number 8 of paper POC 102, that is Biodiversity 2, Unit Pteridophytes. So this is module number 8 and the module name is Sexual Reproduction in Xylotome. To give you an outline of this lecture, first we will have an overview of sexual reproduction in xylotome. We will look at the structure of mature prothallus, antheridium and archegonium. We'll look at the fertilization, how the process of fertilization happens, and then how the young sporophyte develops from the zygote. This module outlines the alteration of generation in xylotome. It describes the structure of mature prothallus, antheridium and archegonium, and it explains the process of fertilization and young sporophyte formation. To begin with, let us have a brief overview of sexual reproduction in xylotome. So, we will look at the life cycle of xylotome. You can see here, this is the sporophytic phase, that is the main plant body. This main plant body at maturity, some of the cells would undergo meiosis to produce spores. These spores are haploid in nature, and when they germinate, it gives rise to the gametophytic phase, that is the prothallus. Now the prothallus, as I said, it is haploid in nature and it produces gamete producing organs which are also called as sex organs. They are antheridium and archegonium. The antheridium will produce the male gametes and the archegonium will produce the female gametes. The fusion of these two haploid gametes will result in zygote formation. This zygote is diploid in nature and it is the beginning of the sporophytic generation. The zygote will grow further to form the embryo. The young embryo will produce a young sporophyte. That young sporophyte will further develop to form a mature sporophyte. So this is the life cycle of xylotome. So the life cycle of xylotome is characterized by alteration of generation. The sporophytic and gametophytic phases are independent of one another. The sporophytic phase occupies major part of the life cycle. Now let us see the structure of mature prothallus. The mature prothallus, as you can see in this image, it is simple parenchymatous and it ranges in size from 0.25 to 2.5 millimeter in width and 20 millimeter in length. It is a subterranean body and it is usually lobed. It is saprophytic in nature and it is monoecious. The meaning of saprophyte means it derives its nutrition from dead organic matter, and what we mean by monoecious is that both the types of sex organs are produced on the same prothallus. So the surface of the prothallus is covered with unicellular rhizoids, as you can see here, unicellular rhizoids, and the sex organs, that is the antheridia and archegonia. As you can see here, the antheridia are shown in blue color and you can see they are more in number compared to the archegonia, which are shown in pink in color. Let us look at the structure of the antheridium in detail. Antheridium is a small spherical, partly projected above the surface of the prothallus as a hemispherical dome. It has a single layered jacket of sterile cells which enclose a mass of spirally coiled multiflagellate anthrozoids. So you can see this is a jacket of single layer of sterile cells inside which there are number of anthrozoids which are spirally coiled and multiflagellate in nature. They have many flagella. Anthrozoids are sometimes also referred to as spermatozoids. At maturity, the jacket will open up to release the mature anthrozoids. So the jacket has an opercular cell which disintegrates at maturity to release the anthrozoids. Now let us look at the structure of archegonium. Almost completely embedded in the prothallus. This structure is almost completely embedded in the prothallus and only part of its neck projects out. The neck is made up of 4 vertical rows of cells with 4 to 5 cells in each row. It has 2 neck canal nuclei, as you can see here, a venter cell and an egg cell. Now let us look at how fertilization happens. So at maturity, when the archegonium matures, the neck cells of the archegonium becomes thick-walled and cutinized. So when they become thick-walled and cutinized, they become very rigid, as a result of which they break off. So the distal neck cells break away, leaving 1 to 3 basal tiers only. So this opens up the venter cells and so the neck canal cells and the venter nuclei disintegrate to form a free passage for the entrance of the anthrozoids. So at maturity, the anthrozoids which are released from the antheridium will swim, because they are multiflagellate, they will swim towards the archegonia, and there they would gain entry into the archegonium through the opening and reach the egg cell. So the anthrozoids enter and fuse with the egg cell to produce a diploid zygote. So the diploid zygote is the beginning of the sporophytic phase. So let us look at the structure of young sporophyte. So the diploid zygote increases in size to occupy the venter cavity. It divides by transverse wall into an epibasal and hypobasal cell. The epibasal cell is on the upper side and the hypobasal cell is on the lower side. The epibasal cell will slowly develop into the shoot system, whereas the hypobasal cell develops into the foot. Now some of these foot cells will extend into the gametophyte tissue to derive nourishment for the growing prothallus. The cells of the prothallus adjoining the embryo forms a calyptra-like structure around it. So because the zygote, or rather the developing embryo, is still young and requires protection, so the cells that are around this embryo, they form a protective covering, something like the calyptra, which provides protection to the growing embryo. The embryo grows through the calyptra. So as the embryo matures, it grows through this calyptra-like protection, projecting out beyond the prothallus. It grows horizontally to form the rhizome, which gets colonized by the mycorrhizal fungus. It starts branching dichotomously. Some branches turn upwards and develop into the aerial shoots. Once established, the sporophyte breaks off from the foot. So then it becomes independent. So these are the references for this module, and these are the web links. Thank you.